Hi, welcome to a Polyglot 2B's first installment of their YouTube channel. I am apparently a Polyglot 2B, and today I'll be talking to you about the language of Nihongo, or as we call it in English, what's it called? Japanese. Now, I love languages. I love all languages, and I've spent most of my time studying Spanish and Russian, so I decided today to start my channel with a Learn With Me, Japanese. Day one, apparently. It's not really day one because I have spent some time learning this, what you can see as the syllabary, the first syllabary of Japanese. It is the hiragana. There are 46 hiragana, and each one of them represents a different sound, a different syllable of any given Japanese word. It's unlike the Latinate alphabet of English, French, other ones, Spanish. Excuse me for a little nervous here. But each one of these symbols, for example, I'm now working on the sa. This letter sa, this one is shi, and they represent a different syllable within any given word, as I've already said. As opposed to the Latinate alphabet, in which each letter the sound of each letter is determined based off of the letters around it, the ones which precede it and the ones which succeed it. And they change. All the sounds, all the syllables within Japanese are all the same. Of course, some are pronounced differently, some are pronounced the same, depending on the certain word, how quickly you say it. I'm no native, so I can't tell you. But this is Japanese for you. Today, I'm recreating a chart which I had pinned to my computer monitor. It fell quite some time ago, and I'm just now getting around to redoing it. But here we go. Now, Japanese comes from Japan, of course, the land of the rising sun. And the language of Japanese is actually split into 3 different writing systems, which are each used depending on the situation, the case. This one, hiragana, is the traditional one. This is what the Japanese people and us learners of the language use to represent native words. There's also the katakana, a more angular variation of these same characters, which are used for loan words, mostly from Latin, English, science, some art terms, things of that nature, which are not native, cognates, as we would call them for other languages. And then there are also the kanji, a much more complicated writing system in which the symbols are quite complicated in most cases, many cases. There are thousands of them, and they are much more conceptual, in which they are still pronounced the same, and some have several pronunciations, but they all definitely must be memorized. There's no rhyme or reason to them. Now, I started learning Japanese, decided to learn Japanese about 1.5 years ago when I was working at a Japanese restaurant, Rokokura. The location I worked at was in San Francisco, California. You should totally check it out. Amazing food, imported Wagyu beef. Look it up. And I started off by learning the hiragana. Now I stopped and started, and I've only been doing it sporadically to kind of keep it in mind. But it's definitely not an easy thing, especially once you add in katakana, which represent the same sounds. There are 46 basic characters within, not including voiced and voiceless counterparts, which are represented by either what we would call a quotation mark in the upper right corner, or a little degree symbol also in the upper right corner, which can change the pronunciation of certain characters, certain hiragana or certain katakana. And there's also the combined, which are kind of like, well, we would call them diphthongs in other languages, but it's not necessarily the same concept. I'm no expert, so I can't go into detail yet, but that's why I've started this Learn With Me. Learn With Me Day 1, me creating the Hiragana chart. Thanks for listening. I'm a Polyglot 2B, and I'm ending with The pen that I use, the brush pen, is a Zig Clean Color Real Brush. It's a black color. And the book that I use for Hiragana and Katakana, as you can see, is Japanese Hiragana and Katakana for Beginners by Timothy G. Stout from Tuttle Productions.